trophy has a red and gold reflection.
These guys are hungry for more. They want to build a dynasty here.
Believe in each other. Fly around. Let's find a way to win.
And he's going to be hit. Chris Jones got him in a bear hug. Pacheco blasts into the end zone at the 10-5. Leaped to the end zone. Touchdown.
The Chiefs held on to beat the Broncos last week for their 5th straight victory. And now, after enjoying a weekend off, it's time for a second consecutive AFC West showdown as the Chiefs take on the Chargers. We are 2 hours from kickoff. You've waited all week for this very moment. It's finally here. It is time for football in Chiefs Kingdom. Let's do this. My name is Matt McMullen, joined by voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holthus. This is Field Pass, presented by StorageMart. And Mitch, it's only October, but if you look at the division standings, today could be a big deal.
Yes, it could. If the Chiefs win this game, they'd have a 3.5-game lead over the guys back here behind us in powder blue. But I'll give you a little tease to the radio open. You can hear it 3:07. It's like our comedians that I love so much that are big Chiefs Kingdom fans. You know, we know who they are. We've had them on Field Pass before. You always know when they're on stage, something good is going to happen. Usually when these two teams meet, oh my gosh. You look at the margin, 3-3, 6-6, overtime, 4 overtime games with Andy Reid as head coach of the Chiefs against the Chargers. So just expect it to be a close, tough, tight game.
Yeah, it's always close against these guys. Now, the Chargers are sitting at 2-3 right now, but don't let that record fool you. If you look at their 3 losses, they've come by a combined 8 points this season. The Chiefs, on the other hand, are 5-1 this year through 6 games, due in large part to the performance of their defense, which has been maybe the best defense in the NFL so far this season. The Chiefs own the number 2 scoring defense in the NFL right now at 14.7 points allowed per game. And that also includes things like the pick 6, things that weren't their fault. So if you look at only offensive points allowed, they've only allowed 79 on the season. That's the fewest of any team to play 6 games this year. This defense has been nothing short of outstanding.
Yeah, less than San Francisco in that 6-game to 6-game comparison when you look at only offensive points scored. And then you said something about the Chargers appear to be tormented with these games that they have lost 6 games in the last season and a half by 3 points or less. Only Denver has more with 7. It's just, you know, it's now become a verb like they chargered, but they're a dangerous team. And you mentioned 2-3. You look at them statistically, there's some power here, but I do like this defense. That 14.7 points a game allowed is the best for an Andy Reid coach team since the 2001 Philadelphia Eagles. Go look those guys up. Or for the Chiefs since the 1997 Chiefs, and that's back in the days of the late Derek Thomas and Neil Smith before he moved on and when defenses ruled this field. So we're close to being historic with this Kansas City Chiefs defense of 2023.
Well, how about the defense last week? They held Russell Wilson in that Broncos pass game to 82 passing yards. And keep in mind, the Broncos entered last week's game with the number 10 scoring offense in the NFL, only 82 passing yards, never got going. Denver had 10 possessions last week, okay? They punted 5 times, turned the ball over 4 times, including a turnover on downs on their initial possession. The Chiefs' defense was just outstanding throughout.
And overall, I get excited just because I think that they're just getting started on defense. Now the rest of the world's going, oh, wait a minute, the Chiefs play defense now? Well, you know, I saw it even in the spring and the summer, but I'm excited about what they could do. They'll get challenged here today because we know the culprits that are on the field behind us. But still, this defense, I'm excited about where it can go. To me, Matt, they've only scratched the surface of how good they can be this year.
Yeah, and I think it's sustainable. That's the really exciting thing, because sometimes defenses can have big games early on because of a high turnover margin that's not sustainable, or they're really good in the red zone that's not sustainable. The Chiefs have just been really good across the board this season defensively. I mean, look at some of these numbers. They're 2nd in defending yards after the catch this season. They're 5th in total touchdowns allowed, 6th in net yards allowed per game, 7th in big passing plays allowed, and 9th in third down conversion rate. And on top of all of that, they may get a big reinforcement back here today in Charles Omenihu.
Excited about that because this mix and matching that's going on with the Chiefs defense and Steve Spagnuolo and the staff, is now done at all three levels. Think about what Amenahu can be a menace outside and inside. We know Chris can go outside after playing inside. Mike Dana is way underrated, him moving inside. Felix Anudike-Ozama can do it. George Karlaftis can do it. So now as a opposing quarterback, we've seen now also one of the biggest things that come out of the game against Denver in that Thursday night win was the fact that you saw Nick Bolton together with Drew Tranquill, the ex-Charger.
Yeah.
And then you can throw in Willie Gay Jr. and Leo Chanel's playing the best football of his career. And then we know what the Chiefs do on the back end. You have all this mixing and matching. So now if you're Justin Herbert, you've got to try to recognize the Chiefs' defense, but now you're looking around at different personnel. It's almost as if you and I are playing chess and you make a move, and while I'm pondering my next move, you're able to replace like a bishop with the rook, and I'm looking at the board and it's different. That's what Justin Herbert faces, and that's why I get excited about this Chiefs defense. I think they're just getting started.
Yeah, this defense has been absolutely awesome so far this year. It's a big reason why the Chiefs are currently 5-1. And for more on this group, I caught up with Tracy Wolfson from CBS Sports earlier this week. All right, we're joined now by Tracy Wolfson from CBS Sports. She'll be on the sidelines for today's game. And Tracy, we talk a lot about the offense in Kansas City, and for good reason, but I want to ask you about the performance of the defense so far, because they've been, frankly, outstanding. It's the number 2 scoring defense in the NFL right now, and they've only allowed 79 offensive points, second most in the NFL, behind only Cleveland, and Cleveland's only played 5 games. Just what's impressed you most about this Chiefs defense so far heading into Week 7?
You're so right. And what's great about it is we are used to just watching Patrick Mahomes and this offense win the games. And now it's the defense that's coming up big and winning these games. And we saw it down the stretch of last season as well. And Steve Spagnuolo and, the brass at Kansas City really made a conscious effort of getting younger and faster. And I think we're starting to see that where they're finally all playing together. They're understanding the system. They're really more comfortable. They're healthy, which is huge. Chris Jones continues to be a beast up front. Certainly, having another impressive season to start. I think what they've been able to do is they really are just working and performing very highly at every level. And that's where it starts with this defense.
And looking at this matchup and your preparation for this game, when you look at the Chargers offense, what are some keys, do you think, for the Chiefs defense to make sure they can keep the success going and not let the Chargers find success offensively on Sunday?
No doubt. I mean, I think it always comes down to the line of scrimmage and pressure and take advantage of an offensive line of the Chargers that's really struggling right now. And we saw what took place last week with the Chargers. And I know Justin Herbert's dealing with a broken finger, and maybe that's why, some of those throws got a little away from him. But I think it's the pressure that really causes that. And if they can just win the line of scrimmage, and then of course, the bright spot for them right now is not even running the football. So, if they can take that away, and it's just Keenan Allen out there, and if you make sure to contain him, however Steve Spagnuolo wants to do it, I think they will be just fine.
And lastly, when you're looking at the Chiefs defense heading into this one, we obviously talk a lot about Chris Jones, and for good reason. Guys like L'Jarius Sneed, guys that have been here a while and really the stars on this defense. But is there maybe a player on this defense that you're looking forward to watching that maybe we don't talk so much about?
Well, I love George Karlaftis. I mean, I think, he's a great story coming in, and every year he takes the next step, and he's just, once again, providing so much depth and strength on that defensive line. So he's a guy I look forward to watching out there, the explosiveness, what he brings, and seeing him take that next step with each game. I think he's going to be a long-time player for the Kansas City Chiefs with a lot of impact. And you mentioned Chris Jones. He's learning from one of the best.
Yeah, George is one of those young players that I think is really helping this defense be what it is so far this season. He's taken a huge step, I think, from his rookie season to now. It's always a tight game against the Chargers whenever the Chiefs and Chargers match up. Hopefully the Chiefs can come up on top in this one, and hopefully the defense is a big reason why. Tracy, awesome stuff. Really appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
All right, great stuff there from Tracy Wolfson. She talked a bit about the Chargers offense there at the end. I want to ask you about that as well. When you watch these guys offensively, what stands out to you?
Well, first of all, it's good to hear Tracy kind of understand that this Chiefs defense is different than the perception that it's been the last several years. But offensively, it centers around 2 people now. The fact that Keenan Allen is up and running and has been so productive. We've talked about his 18-catch game against the Vikings. Yeah. But the fact that he gets an average 11 targets a game. But now that Austin Eckler is back after his week 1 injury with his ankle injury, he's back. And in last week's game on Monday Night Football, he got 11 targets in that game. So you're looking at 22 targets on the average to those two guys. And that presents enough of a problem for the Chiefs at all 3 levels. And then they'll throw in Joshua Palmer, who's been a kind of their 20-plus catch guy. But, yeah, there's enough to defend against these guys, and we know Herbert's a talent.
Yeah, they have playmakers really throughout this offense. Herbert is a very good quarterback, though, off to a good start this season. The thing I want to ask you about with him is his average depth of target. Getting kind of nerdy with it, but this is interesting. So his average depth of target this year is up significantly when compared to last year. Last season, it was only 6.7 yards in terms of average depth of target. That was the 3rd lowest mark in the NFL. They brought in Kellen Moore to be their new offensive coordinator, and that figure has gone way up. Now it's 8.7 yards on average, 5th highest in the NFL. Basically, it's a fancy way of saying he's throwing the ball downfield more often, and the Chiefs will need to be ready for that.
But, Matt, it's how he's doing the downfield throws. Mike Williams is on IR. He's not playing, obviously got hurt. In the past, when they would take shots, it would be numbers to boundary and then take the fade shot to Williams. This is different, a lot more combo routes, a little more sophisticated in what Kellen Moore has brought to the Charger offense. That's why a Joshua Palmer has to be accounted for today, because he can become a big-time player, and you'll get a lot of underneath routes from Keenan Allen. But you'll see 2 to 3 guys involved in combo routes that they didn't run as much the last couple of years with Justin Herbert. But the running back in the passing game is probably the biggest key for the Chiefs, because Austin Eckler last year had 311 touches. 311 touches. He had 107 receptions.
Wow.
They're keying on throwing to the running back. And again, a little bit different concept in how they're throwing it to him, but they're still throwing it to him. So honestly, you start with Austin Eckler and move from there.
And they'll do that on 1st and 2nd down, right? There goes your notes.
Yeah.
They'll do that on 1st and 2nd down. Why is that important? Well, 3rd down is obviously important in the NFL. We all know that. But Steve Spagnuolo brought up a very interesting point a few days ago. He mentioned that last year, if you look at the 2 games with the Chiefs and Chargers, the Chargers had 33 total 3rd down chances, okay? 19 of them were either a 3rd and 1 or a 3rd and 2. It's incredibly frustrating, because when the Chargers are facing 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2, they're probably going to pick it up, right? And if they don't, they're probably going to go for it on 4th down. It's what these guys do. The Chiefs' ability to force the Chargers into longer 3rd downs is imperative here today.
Yeah, and it's on both sides of the ball, because the way they rush the passer, I know that we're getting to that in a second, but all I've heard from the coaches this week has been 1st and 2nd down, 1st and 2nd down, and try to force the Chargers, when you're on defense, the Chiefs, to get them into where they can get you on the heels. And that's where Eckler comes into play. They have Donald Parham, a tight end that they can also use. But, yeah, winning on 1st down, as it usually is in an NFL game, is paramount. But against certain opponents, it's even more so. This is that kind of opponent.
Yeah, it seems obvious. Like, winning on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down is important in this game. Obviously it is, but especially against these guys. Now let's talk about the Chiefs offense a little bit, because it feels like they're so close to really breaking through. Look at last week. They racked up 389 yards of total offense. Now, they only scored 19 points because they were 1 for 5 in the red zone, but I really think that's a fixable issue, because otherwise, outside of the red zone issues, this offense has the 4th most yards of any team in the NFL, the lowest 3-and-out percentage in the NFL, and the 2nd most plays of double-digit yardage in the NFL with 85. They're moving the football, just a matter of finishing in the red zone.
And it's been up and down. It's not like they've been terrible in the red zone. I know they're middle of the pack in the red zone, 17th, I believe, or 19th, right in there. But they were 5 of 5 against the Bears. They were 2 of 3 against the Vikings. It's just been the 0 for 4 against the Jets that kind of drags down the numbers, or the 1 for 5 against the Broncos. Today, you would like to see, it's been a point of emphasis. That's where the mini bye week comes into play. I've also been talking to the coaches and Coach Reed about it. In there could be a change in some things that they're going to do in the red zone, but yes, to be effective down there, move the ball. But this is also the way defenses are playing now. Go back to our podcast. Defenses are going to give you yards, but going to clamp down the red zone. You're only going to get field goals, and then we'll try to beat you that way in a 17-13 game. That's the league right now. Yeah. So if you can score in the red zone or attack that no man's land, you can bear some real fruit.
Now we got to avoid this Chargers pass rush today. That's the strength of this defense. It's one of the best pass rushes in the NFL. They have the 3rd most sacks in the league right now with 21, and it's coming from different places. So we know about Joey Bosa. We know about Khalil Mack. Mack has 7 sacks in his last 2 games, but Morgan Fox has been really good for these guys lately. He has 5 sacks this season. And rookie Tuli Tuipulotu, I practiced that.
Nice job.
Tuipulotu has 19 pressures. That's 4th most of any rookie in the NFL.
Yeah, and we saw out of USC, the draft, to be really, we talked about him during our draft analysis, but Morgan Fox to me becomes the guy because he becomes inside and they move him around. We talk about the Chiefs defensively moving guys around. That's what they do with Morgan Fox. He might be on the zero tech right over Creed Humphrey's nostrils, or he can move into the A, B gap. They'll even move him outside some. We know about Mack and we know about Joey Bosa. But people need to know about Morgan Fox. You've got to account for him today. What's mysterious about this team, though, with all those sacks, and they've had 21 in the last 4 games, is the fact that they're 31st in the league in yards allowed, and in passing yardage, they've just given up a gob of too many yards when you think of that many pressures. So it's a little bit of the bend not break, but it's also some mystery here with this team.
It is odd. They're giving up 391 yards per game on average. Only Denver has been worse. Hopefully the Chiefs can add to those numbers here today, hopefully with maybe some big plays. And speaking of big plays, it's alumni weekend here in Kansas City. We're going to unveil a new member of the Ring of Honor later today. And this year, it's Dante Hall. The human joystick Dante Hall is being enshrined in the Chiefs Ring of Honor this afternoon. And for more on that, I caught up with Dante a few hours ago. All right, we're here with the man of the hour. It's Dante Hall. Dante, your name's going in the Ring of Honor later today.
Me chills just to think about it.
Yeah, just what's this moment mean to you?
It means everything, to be honest, man. And I think it means even more because my kids are going to be here to witness it. You and I were just talking. When they unveil that name, I'll be able to now tell my kids, and when they'll listen to me. Daddy knows what he's talking about. Yep. I know what it takes to achieve something great. So that's what that moment is going to mean for me.
Yeah, well, it's a journey that began over 20 years ago here in Kansas City. It's crazy the time's flown by, but yeah, your name will be unveiled in the Ring of Honor today. You got your family here. I believe this is the largest contingent of alumni we've ever had back here for an alumni week, and they're here for you. How special is it?
I think they're here for Taylor Swift. They're not here for me.
They're here for you too, though, man. What's
okay.
that mean to you?
It means everything, man. I was just saying, moments like this brings all the ones that I love, my family, my friends, all together. I don't have to see them in different pockets. They can all be in one room, enjoying one occasion. And for me, yes, the name going up is going to be amazing. But what's also amazing is having my dearest and nearest people all in one building.
Now, looking back at your career, you played in NFL Europe for a while. Obviously had some great times here in Kansas City. Was there ever a moment where you thought to yourself, yeah, I can one day be a Chiefs legend, my name will be up there one day?
Never. I'm going to be honest with you, never. I never thought that would happen. I guess, not that I didn't think it would happen, it never entered my mind. That's not why I played. I just played, did the best I could, played with passion, loved my organization, my team, and I just let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, all worked out pretty well.
Worked out pretty good.
And you've remained a part of this organization for years since. Some players, they come play here, then they leave. That wasn't you. You've stayed here, you've remained a part of this team. Why has that been important to you?
I just feel like this team changed the trajectory of my life, fulfilled my my childhood dream, playing in the NFL. And I'm just dedicated to this team because I feel like they were dedicated to me as a player, and the love is reciprocal.
And lastly, you'll be up on the drum here today. You'll feel the love from the crowd. How special is that going to be?
You just said it. Feel the love. Who doesn't like to feel love? So that'll be great. I've done it before, but I don't think I've ever done it at the beginning of a game. So I'm looking forward to that.
Dante, enjoy today, man.
Okay, thanks, Matt.
Happy for you.
I'm in.
X Factor, baby. All right, great hearing there from Dante. He's such an awesome guy. I'm so happy for him. It's exciting for me because that was like my childhood, like my era of childhood Chiefs football was watching Dante Hall, that 2003 season, and now having a chance to really get to know him over the years. He's so deserving of this honor.
Dante was ahead of his time. If he would have been in this offense, Coach would have loved to have had him because people go, is he a running back? Is he a receiver? You know what? He's everything, and that's what Coach would do with him. And then in the return game, he could absolutely, maybe he and Devin Hester, the two most in NFL history to win a game or to affect a game as much as he did. Field position. He gave the team, if he wasn't returning his 6 kicks for touchdowns or his 6 punt returns for touchdowns, he was creating field position or making punters so nervous they'd have a 20-yard punt. But it also brings up, when I was studying Dante this week or restudying him, it popped into my head, something I used in my Minute with Mitch thesis this week, is the fact that the Chiefs have prevented these returns with Dave Tobe, Andy Hill, and the staff. They've only given up one kick return for a touchdown in 11 years here. That's ridiculous. So one thing's to be electric like Dante Hall, or you unplug the electricity. And the Chargers have a dangerous dude in Darius Davis. You have to account for him today.
Unplug the electricity against the Chargers. Got to do it. We'll have the inactives here in a moment. But first, Mitch, it's discount promo code time. We have a new one.
Favorite time of the show.
This week. So the code this week is Corn Dog. Corn Dog of Kadarius Toney fame. If you say Corn Dog at checkout.
Let's run it right out here.
Let's do it. Right if you say Corn Dog at the Pro Shop this week, you're going to get 10% off your purchase. Now, there are some rules around this, as always. The offer is not valid on game day or the day before. It cannot be stacked with other discounts. It's in-store only. It does not work online, unfortunately. It's only the Pro Shop here at GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium, and it excludes memorabilia, Oakleys, Ray-Bans, and sale items. But all the stuff you see us wearing on our shows, like these things right here, which are pretty cool, that's all fair game. So Corn Dog, say that when you're checking out at the Pro Shop, beginning on Monday through Friday. So we just got the inactives, Mitch. Let's see what we got here. The one we knew about already was Justin Watson at wide receiver for the Chiefs. He's not going to play with that elbow injury. The good news is, Coach Reed said a few days ago, he does not suspect that Justin will go on injured reserve. That's good news. So hopefully we get him back here in a few weeks.
And we have McCole Hardman back, folks. He's wearing number 12. Don't get fooled. He's wearing number 12.
We have McCole Hardman back. I want to ask you about him in a moment. Jalen Watson is active today. That's good news. Yeah. He was questionable coming in. Hurt his thigh in Friday's practice, but Jalen Watson is active here today. And you mentioned it, McCole Hardman, the Jet, he's back. Back with Kansas City. He practiced on Thursday after being traded here on Wednesday. McCole Hardman is active here today, and so is Charles Omenihu, defensive lineman. He is also active. Very excited for that.
Can't wait. Let's go, man. I told you, but with Omenihu and his mixing and matching and what he can do, so I'm ready to go, man. Let's go.
And then looking at the Chargers,
this is the news I wanted to hear.
Yeah, they listed 4 players as out for today, the biggest of which is safety Alohi Gilman. He has a heel injury, listed as out for this one. He played 100% of the Chargers' defensive snaps through the first 3 weeks of the year, has not played since. It's still a big deal he's not playing. And Derwin James was the one we were watching. Of course, an all-pro safety, has an ankle injury, questionable coming in. Derwin James is active here in this game. Now, he showed up on the injury report on Thursday and didn't practice on Friday. Indicates he hurt his ankle in practice. We'll see how effective he can be here today, but he's going to give it a go.
And will he man up against Kelsey? We've seen that before where they will play some zone, but a lot of times he's man-to-man all over the field with Kelsey, and he's one of the few guys that can hang with him, although Kelsey's first 13 games against the Chargers, he had no 100-yard receiving games. 3 of the last 4, he has accounted for 451 yards. That includes being bird dogged by Derwin James. So that'll be how healthy is he? One thing is to be up. Another, can he be up and be effective?
All those walk-off touchdowns for Travis Kelce against the Chargers. Maybe a few more of those here over the next few years. Maybe one today. Who knows? We'll end our show that way, everybody. As we began it, it's just October. We know that. It's only week 7. But if you look at the standings, a win today for the Chiefs would be a very big deal. We could be talking about a 3.5-game lead over these guys before we get to Halloween. Let's do that. Going into this one.
And I think it's a huge game for the Chargers. Even bigger. Not only that, but the weight of what's happened at the end of the 21 season, what happened at the end of the 22 season, sometimes can be the NFL, and we've seen this, Matt, can be an anvil. And a feather lands on an anvil, and it can crash. So I think it's huge for the Chargers. I think if they lose this game, they start to look at every little thing, including their infrastructure.
It's only week 7, but a very big game here at GEHA Field at Arrowhead. For Mitch Holthus, I'm Matt McMullen. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Let's go get a victory.